So what are the 5 methods of solving quadratic equations? These are the ones we're going to talk about in this video: the graphing method, quadratic formula, factoring, completing the square, and taking square roots. And more importantly, I'm going to show you when you might want to use one method over another in a given problem. So the first one I want to show you is this one: x squared minus 2x minus 3 equals 0. This one here, we're going to show you the graphing method first. Okay, and what you want to do is you want to look at y equals this equation here. You want to get everything on one side, you want to set it equal to 0, and what we're going to do is we're going to graph this quadratic, this parabola, and we're going to look at where it crosses the x-axis. When it crosses the x-axis, that's where the y value is equal to 0. But the question is, how do we graph it, right? Well, you can use this formula to find the vertex. It's negative b divided by 2a. So this is a, b, and c. So the opposite of b is going to be positive 2 over 2 times a, which you can see is 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. That's the x-coordinate of our vertex. If we put it back in, 1 minus 2 is negative 1, minus 3 is negative 4. So you can see our vertex where the graph bends is at 1, negative 4 right there. This is our axis of symmetry. This is what divides our parabola in half. And we can pick some points on either side of that axis of symmetry to get a better graph. So for example, if we put 0 in for x, you can see that y is going to be negative 3 right here, and we can reflect it over that line of symmetry. We could also pick, let's say, for example, positive 3, that would be 9 minus 6 minus 3, which is 0. So here you can see we're at 0, and if we reflect that over that line of symmetry, you can see we're going to be over here at negative 1. So if we draw our parabola, okay, we can see where does it equal 0? Where it's crossing right here at negative 1 and positive 3. Those are going to be our two solutions. So when would you want to use this method? The only time I would really use this method is if I had a graphing calculator available, or if they're giving you the graph already and you can just look at the x-intercepts. That's when I would use the graphing method. Usually this is not the best method because it takes a little bit more time, and it doesn't necessarily guarantee that when you are given a particular quadratic that's going to cross at nice integer values, right? So that's why we're going to use these other techniques. So number 2, let's talk about using the quadratic formula. So you probably already know the quadratic formula, but just a quick refresher, it's x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. And that's when the quadratic is in this form, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So you want to get everything on one side, put it in descending order and set it equal to 0 so that you can identify your a, b, and c values to put into that quadratic formula. So let's go ahead and do this one, and then I'll explain kind of why you would want to use a quadratic formula in a particular instance. So here you can see the opposite of b. See, negative b is the opposite of b. That would be positive 2 plus or minus negative 2 squared, which is 4, minus 4 times a, which is 3, times c, which is negative 4. Make sure you capture the sign. If it's minus, it's negative. All divided by 2 times a, which is going to be 6. So if we simplify this down a little bit further, we have, let's see, negative 4 times 3 is negative 12, times negative 4 is 48, plus the 4 is 52. So we have 2 plus or minus square root of 52 all over 6. Okay, and what is the square root of 52? Well, 52 is really like 4 times 13, and we know the square root of 4 is 2. So we can simplify this down to 2 plus or minus 2 root 13 all over 6, and we can divide all these by 2, so this would be 1 plus or minus square root of 13 over 3, or you could write it separately as 1 plus square root of 13 over 3, and then also 1 minus square root of 13 over 3. And again, all this is telling us is if we put this value here back in for x, that's going to equal 0. Or if we were to graph this parabola or this quadratic, these are the values on the x-axis where the parabola would cross. Now, why would we want to use the quadratic formula? Well, you can see that this is not going to be easily factored. This is also not going to be easily graphed. And so when you have something like this that's not easily factored, not easily graphed, it's easy just to go ahead and jump right into the quadratic formula and get your exact values, or you can put these in your calculator and get an approximate value. Okay, for number 3 now, when we look at this one, we're going to use the factoring technique. And the factoring technique, I would only use this, of course, when it's easily factored. And when is it easily factored? Well, a lot of times when you have a trinomial and the leading coefficient's 1, those ones are easily factored. You just have to say what multiplies to negative 4, what two numbers multiply to negative 4, but add to negative 3, that's going to be negative 4 and positive 1. So now if we set each group, each factor, equal to 0, x minus 4 equals 0, so that means that x equals 4, or x plus 1 equals 0, which means that x equals negative 1. So again, these are the 2 points, where this parabola, this quadratic, would cross the x-axis. So factoring is an easy method if it's easily factored. Okay, for number 4, or x squared minus 8x minus 6 equals 0, for this one, we're going to do the completing the square method. And when you complete the square, what you want to do is you want to get the variables on the left. You want to move this constant over to the right side. So what that gives us is x squared minus 8x equals 6. Okay, and so now what you want to do is you want to take half of this coefficient, half of negative 8. So we'll do negative 8 divided by 2 squared. So that's going to be negative 4, the quantity squared, which is 16. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 16 to the left side, 16 to the right side to keep the equation balanced. This is going to give us 22. And now what we've done by completing the square is this is actually a perfect square. You take half of this middle coefficient, x minus 4, the quantity squared. If this was plus 8x, this would be plus 4. And so now that we have it in this form, we can then solve by taking the square root of both sides. Remember, when you do that, you get two answers, plus or minus. And the square and the square root cancel, so you just get x minus 4. And then if I add 4 to both sides, we get x equals 4 plus or minus square root of 22. And you can write this separately, 4 plus square root of 22 and 4 minus square root of 22. You can also do this on your calculator to get an approximate answer. But the question is when would you want to use the completing the square method? Well, I would use this method when this middle coefficient, this b value, is even, because if it was odd, when we take half of that, 7 over 2, and we square it, we're going to end up with a fraction, and it's not going to be so easy to complete the square. It's going to be, you're going to have a lot of fractions in there. It's going to be a little bit more complicated. In that case, I would probably just go and use the quadratic formula. If the leading coefficient's not 1, like say this was a 2, I would first divide everything by 2. It's easier to complete the square when that leading coefficient is 1. So if you do have that leading coefficient, just divide it out. The last example, number 5, 4/9 x squared equals 12. We're going to use the taking square roots method. And just like when we got down to this point here with completing the square, we had a perfect square and we took the square root. That's a good instance when you'd want to use the square root method. But also what you can recognize when you use the square root method is when you have just like an x squared, but not an x to the first. Okay, so you just have a squared term, but not like a linear term, an x to the first term. So what we're going to do is we're just going to get this x squared by itself, and the easiest way to do that is to multiply both sides by not 4/9, but the reciprocal 9/4. 12 is like 12 over 1. We can do a little bit of cross reducing. 3 times 9 is 27. So these cancel, and we get x squared equals 27. Now we can take the square root of both sides. Remember, when you do that, you get two answers, plus or minus. 27 is really like 9 times 3, right? 9 times 3 is 27. Square root of 9, that's a perfect square, and we have this square root of 3 left over. So it's going to be positive 3 square root of 3 or negative 3 square root of 3. And again, this is where the quadratic is crossing the x-axis if you're graphing that parabola, or if you take these values and put it back into the original equation, it's going to make the equation true. So those are the 5 techniques. I'll put links in the description below to other videos I did talking about these different techniques if you want to learn more. Subscribe to the channel. My goal for this channel is to make learning math less stressful so you can raise your grade, pass your class, and go on to pursue your dreams. I look forward to helping you in the future videos. I'll talk to you soon.